For the first time, I was threatened by a client. Hello everyone, I am Prasad Amodkar, real estate consultant and real estate coach. In the initial days of my career as a real estate agent or broker or consultant, you can call it anything, because I had left my job and I started as a real estate broker. I didn't know that time what am I? Am I a broker or a consultant or an agent or a freelancer? What exactly you call it? Because one of the lawyer who has done a lot of court cases, court matters, and all that in different countries, he asked me this question: are you a consultant or a broker? I said, what's the difference? I am into real estate and I trade into properties. So he told me that consultant in some countries, they only do consultation, they do not sell. And the brokers or the agents, real estate agents, only sell the property, which does not happen in India, because in India, everybody is a real estate agent. Everybody is a broker. Once they know someone, there is some property available, they'll say, I am a broker. So leaving that part aside, I am coming back to the story. I want to tell you one story. These were the initial days of my career as a real estate agent, real estate consultant, wherein I was dealing into a land deal, and that was a big land deal. So about 7 to 8 years back, when I didn't know much about land deals, I just knew that this is the land and it has to be sold. I didn't know the zoning of the property. I didn't know what should be the rate of that in that area. I didn't know what is the title documents. I knew nothing. It was like initially when I had started. So somehow I got this client from one of my network, one CA, one chartered accountant, who fortunately I had sold one office to a chartered accountant, and that CA gave me a referral of his client, and the client showed me the property, and I said, okay, fine, I'm interested in marketing your property. All that thing went. I went to market and I immediately got a buyer, because the kind of rate which I was marketing at, which had come from the client, I was very happy with it, and the clients were also very happy. And I tell you very frankly, I must have shown that property to maybe 3 or 4 clients, and immediately I got the deal. Immediately the client who was interested showed interest, and he said, okay, let's close the deal at this amount. I said, okay, we had a deal. Immediately what I did was the meeting between the buyer and the seller, because that's a very important thing which I did initially. Considering that I don't know much about land deals, and everything has to be clear, transparent from the seller point of view, because I knew somehow, I knew somewhat about real estate, but I didn't know so much about land. Because you tell me to sell an apartment, I was so easy to sell an apartment, because in an apartment basically there's a sale deed, there's a previous title document, there's a builder, and you sell the property. But here in the land deal, there was this title document which has to be verified whether he is the original owner of the property, or whether the property is come to him from somewhere, like inherent property, it is come from his grandparents and all that stuff. It has to be checked by a lawyer. So the meeting happened and they agreed for the price. They agreed to check the documents. The document went to the lawyer checked the document. Now after that process, the buyer wanted to give a token amount, a small token amount to the seller, which I was not comfortable with, because I knew the seller, but I didn't know the owner. I didn't know the buyer of the property, because the seller had come to me from a reference of a chartered accountant. So I can trust this guy. But someone who I have just met, I cannot. And he is a buyer of the property, and he is benefiting more than the seller point of view. I felt, considering the price which it was getting traded at. Now the documents were given, but that day I still remember when I said, no exchanging token, nothing. You just go ahead, check the papers, check the title documents, give a public notice, and if you are okay with the property, if you are confirming that, okay, you are going ahead with the property, then let's do the sale deed directly. No token, not even a small 1 or 5 lakh rupees exchange between both the parties. And for that, I tell you, my seller was very impressed with me. He said, fine, that's great, I like this way of working. And that is the first thing I learned in the real estate, that never exchange token if you are not comfortable with the purchaser, any of the parties for that matter, not only the purchaser, it could be seller as well. Now in this case, what happened was, we agreed to do the public notice, or we agreed to do the cleaning of the property. So the buyer went and did the cleaning of the property, and he went to do the survey. Now during that time, to get the survey done, I had recommended my person, because I knew someone from the department who could do the survey. So the surveyor went and he did the survey of the entire land, and the land was actually touching a small creek kind of, flowing water. So some part of land was touching the water. So when it is water, you can't have the exact boundary because some part of the land will go into the water, right? I mean, that's logical. You can't say that, you can't measure inch by inch. There will be some deviation over a period of time. Got it? Now in this case also, because the land was partly settlement, partly orchard, partly natural cover, partly green, so that was not a big deal that some part of the water is going into the, some part of the land was going into the water, was not a big deal. Anyways, now after doing that survey, we everything was fine, and the buyer agreed. We exchanged the sale deed draft, and we did the registration as well. The seller gave me the brokerage, and the buyer side, when the turn came to give the brokerage, he called me at the side and he showed me that the survey done was wrong. He said lot of property is going into the water. Almost the property, maybe from that 9-10,000 square meter, about 400 or 500 is going in the water. I said, you had done the survey, you had concluded the survey, you have confirmed the survey, then why this after the sale deed? Anything has to happen. At least I knew one thing, is that once you have done the sale deed, there is no looking back. You can't go back and say that this was not done, that was not done. Anything you have to do before the sale deed. Anything you want to do the resurvey, you do the resurvey. You want to check the document, check the documents again. You want to check the title documents again, survey again, valuation again, do whatever you want to do. But do not come after the sale deed saying that the area is measured is less. Because whenever there is a sale deed done, the sale deed is done is based on the area per square meter. So whatever the area available into whatever the price is. Now in this case also, there is something happened in between. Now, during that period, the seller was not interested in selling. Why? Before the sale deed, the seller was not interested in selling because he said that after accepting this money, he had to pay a huge income tax. Now, because of that, he increased his price, and the buyer was ready to pay that price also. Almost 30-40 lakh rupees more, which was going into the taxation. He was agreed to pay. So the seller was now okay with it. The buyer was okay. Sale deed was done. Just because he had to pay the brokerage, he called us. He called me and he called the seller as well. He took us in the car and he went to the, we went in our car and he was there at the side. And he said, no, you have cheated me. You have done this. You have done that. Hello. We have given you a surveyor. The surveyor has measured the property. You have signed the survey report. You yourself, because recommending someone as a surveyor is not the authentication of the survey. The buyer has to check on his own everything. You have checked everything. You got the property at a much lower price than the market price just because you wanted to extort money from the seller and not to pay brokerage. You were doing this excuse. This is what happened over there. And I could gauge it. The seller could gauge it. So then we got into the car. He almost threatened us. He almost threatened us that, okay, see now that 200 square meter out of some 10,000 square meter, 1 or 200 square meter is gone in water. I mean, that's but obvious, yeah. I mean, the property is touching the river, so definitely that will go. So he was asking for almost 15 lakh rupees refund, which was impossible. The seller was a old person, like he was an aged person, but still he was very strong. He said, Prasad, do not worry. Do not worry. I am with you. You have not done anything wrong. Neither I have done anything wrong. So we have sold a correct property. We have sold a clear, clean title property. He's got a good property. And you know what? He sold that plot for almost 4 times more after developing the land. After developing the land within 1-2 years, he sold it 4 times at higher price than what he bought at. So he is also benefited. The seller was also happy because he got good money. The buyer was content. But in that, just because to avoid paying brokerage, he had paid me the brokerage check of, I remember, I can't tell you the amount, but he had paid the brokerage check and he said, now do not deposit it because this is what I feel. Now that was the initial time. If I had to deposit the check, it would have got bounced and I could have sued that person, a court case against him. I didn't want to get into all that thing. I said, let's move on. And I today feel that whatever I did that time was correct. Just move on. There, I could have done it. I could have deposited the check would have got bounced. Then I would have dragged him into the court and blah blah blah. And then so much time I would have wasted with so much of negativity. I said nothing doing. I got my money. That is enough. Let's move on. And today I feel good. And today when I see that person, I'm performing much better than that person. I'm not comparing myself with that client, but I am good. I am content. So what I did is I did not get into the dispute. I just moved on. And today I feel that I don't regret that decision. I still had that check for a pretty long time, and then I just tore it off. So that was a story about sometimes how people can can give some excuses not to make the payment. Here you take your decision what you want to do. Initially, like when you're signing the form, you take their signature, you send them a WhatsApp, you send them an email, they will agree to everything. They would have on a voice call recording also. They will say, okay, I'm going to make the payment. But when the actual time comes to make the payment, this may happen. You decide. I decided to move on. 2-3 more clients. I will give you more stories about how people can bypass you, can ditch you, cannot pay you the money when it is really required. Anyways, I'm still happy with whatever I am doing right now, and I also recommend you go ahead, move on, do your best, and do a great deal. So if you like my videos, if you like what I do, please like and comment and share, and please subscribe to my channel so that I can come up with more videos for you. Thank you.